Hello, Ben here from Supercoach Insider, bringing you my team into round 20. Thank you for those that followed me along the journey. It was a very interesting week. My team has had some certain ups and downs, but let's have a look at my total score, 2,420 for the week. I'll get into how I managed that straight away. Ranked now at 126th overall, so just trying to chip away and hold on to a decent ranking for the year. Before I move on, SC Insider 100, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and on the TikTok as well. Also, all the audio platforms as well, Spotify, Soundcloud, Stitcher, you name it, get on there. And on YouTube, please do like, subscribe, hit that button, follow us, get those notifications up because we'll be bringing you so much content in the preseason next year as well, and also some end-of-season wraps. So for those that are new to the channel, pretty much preseason, I think, is where we do our best work. Now, last year it was a little bit, so the start of this season, a little bit slack. Chris had some stuff going on and a few other bits and bobs. Swizz is now in with the mix as well. Normally, we pretty much smash out early January into February. Our team reveals, going through who we're looking at, who's got value in the rest of it. So please do like, subscribe, stay tuned for all of this stuff because we are probably one of the most active preseason podcasts or people on YouTube that I can tell. So that's us. Shout out if you followed us for many of the journeys and give us a comment as well to back up what I'm saying, because normally I like what we do in the preseason. So please do support me and make sure that I have some credit in that area. So having a look at my week now. I kind of messed things up a little bit, like last week, probably more so. So when we have a look at my team, now you might notice if you are quick on the observation list, so Hewitt was a big issue last week. Now, I kind of ruined it because the week before, I went Ware down and I went Hobbs up, which to Bontempelli. So I can't complain because Bontempelli's gone a couple of massive weeks in a row. I also had Bontempelli VC last week, so I can't complain because I've definitely reaped the rewards of that. What was funny this week is I actually had the emergency on Brody and then took that and left Heaney on the Pine, who got 106, so I kind of cost myself 11 points there, but that's always going to happen. I can't rely on Heaney going 100 every week. So with the whole Hewitt scenario, so I actually went Ewland the other week. I should have gone Burgoyne, and Burgoyne would have been good for me, but he didn't have great job security. I think he was sub for that week. I probably should have just put him in my side anyway, to be honest, because I was having a look at it and Burgoyne played and he got a 58. So I would have taken that. I would have easily taken that, kept my one trade. Probably would have been more tricky this week because, again, Hewitt out, so I probably would have had to take another rookie score as well. But the fact that I went Newland and I had a little bit of cash because I thought, well, what if someone goes out like a short and I need that extra $20,000 to kind of get a good player. So in the end, I was going to take a donut. I was going to hold on to Hewitt. And I was out for a walk with the missus and I'm walking along and the bounce was about to start within like a minute, maybe a minute and a half. It wasn't much time there. And I'm sitting there going, why am I playing conservative when I can cover all positions except my defense, which was the big issue? And I know 4 rounds with no trades is obviously a big issue, but if I'm trying to push for the best rank possible, I was channeling my inner Abdul. So I was like, it's a sprint, not a race. And I was like, okay. And if I was going to trade him, it was always Himmelberg. I think I could just afford him. And, Himmelberg's been doing really well, especially, with some of the mix-ups of their teams and the rest of it. So I was like, you know what? He's been doing well lately. I'm just going to make the trade. I'm going to risk it for the biscuit. And Himmelberg got 130. So that's why I was able to move up in rank. Even though, sorry for anyone that followed my gut feel, I think I must have been looking. I think the news that came out on how well I was going with my VC and my C options, I think I read my gut feel too literally. So I had this feeling Mills was going big, so I stuck to it when really the safe option was Laird into Neil and I would have banked 140 points. So can't be too upset. Neil got 123. He did nothing in that last quarter. He was on like 103 at 3/4 time. So I'm like, cool. He'll go 130 plus and everything's great. Did nothing for the first 15 minutes in the fourth quarter. And it's funny because I spoke to some mates on the chat before this. If it was a wet game, I was going Tuke Miller because of how well he is in the wet. I still consider Tuke Miller because of how much Zach Merritt's held up the Lions the other week because they're not accountable. right? Zach Merritt has a huge work rate that I didn't really realize before. Took is definitely someone who's just got an absolutely outstanding work rate. So I nearly put the captain on Took late. I went in that last minute and put Himmelberg in. So now I feel pretty good about my side. And the thing is, with Hewitt being out this week, the trade I made last week has now been deserved. Basically, it's justified. That's the word I'm looking for. So it was justified now because even last week I thought, well, hey, Himmelberg's killed it. He's got a 130. Even if I cop 2 defender donuts on the last 4 games, I can pretend that Himmelberg got me a 75-75 for that round or whatever. So it's not the worst thing in the world. 3 rounds after this, I'm hoping to avoid some damage. The Hewitt out hurts a lot of people. I think it's about 50% owned. So if you're not sure about trade options, we did a little team pod. I think it was on Tuesday night, so go check out that. Pretty much Stewart and Dawson are the main 2 that you want to try and get in. They're better price points if you have a little bit of cash. Dale is similarly priced, but Caleb Daniels back, I believe, so I wouldn't really be going him unless he's still a good choice though. Outside of below Dale, the options really suck. So it's pretty much a flippin' lick. Just try and see what you can go with. Give it a bit of a go. There's risk everywhere. So I think if you can afford it, Stewart, Dawson, and then probably Dale, are probably the better options to sort of go for there, and work your team as so. So my team reveals are pretty simple at this current point in time. I'll keep you updated with my overall rankings, etc. But I've got 0 trades. I can't do anything more. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my journey as full. This is me from start to finish. I might have to go through the whole year in review at some point. But here's what I am looking at. So I'm going to have to try, and I think I'm putting the emergency on Heaney to see if he does well. I have a small issue with, I can't really, sometimes I'd like to sort of loop in here and then push someone into that midfield to try and have another go. So I might put an emergency on someone here early to free up a bit of a VCC option. Dunkley's been a little concerning for me. So if Heaney goes really well, I might even just throw Dunkley on the sidelines. So his last 3 games have been pretty bad, 67, 80, and 62. So I know he can go 100, but if Heaney goes 100 or close to, I might even just take him this week instead of Dunkley and see how I go. Now, ideally in future weeks, I'll have a little bit more flexibility. I am also tempted, if Tickle's not named, I'll probably even put Darcy on the bench as an emergency. So that way, if he goes bad and goes like a 50, then I'll throw English into that ruck line and then Heaney into my forward line. So that kind of works out that way. So it just depends on teams tonight as to what I will do, but that loophole does give me a little bit of flexibility for that. C and VC this week, I am going, and it's a short turnaround, so I have to be really onto it. I think Took towed up West Coast in round 1. Now, I know it's not the same team, but it is on the Gold Coast. So I'm adamant that Took's work rate on the Gold Coast is very, very, very much a viable option as a VC. He finished really strong last season as well, and I think we've sort of seen him come a little bit stronger recently. He had some up and down games. I think it was around the buys in the middle part. But yeah, he's been super strong, especially that last 4 weeks, 153, 135, 110, and 157. So I'm really looking forward to them. And the last 2 at Metricon, 153 and a 135. So I think when we look at that run home, West Coast, Hawthorn, Geelong, and North, I'm probably trying to put the VC, if I can, on Took, I think, for 3 out of those last 4. Very favourable draws. West Coast midfield, I think he can really do some damage to. He works harder than most midfielders. Hawks leak a lot of points to midfield, we know that. And North Melbourne, enough said. So I think that's pretty much what I'll be looking at. I prefer Took on the VC rather than the C because he can just stink up the occasional one, which is probably why I went Neil last week, just because Neil tends to go 100 flat on a bad week, whereas Took can go 60s and 70s. Neil rarely goes below 90, so that's why he's a really good captaincy option. If you do have Zachy Merritt, I suggest you probably bring play Zach Merritt as captain this week against North. They're heavily impacted by COVID. So for me, I'd probably even go Took Miller into Merritt. I also have a feeling Neil towers up Richmond because Richmond don't play accountable football in that midfield. It just depends on which Neil shows up because I feel like he kills it in parts and then kind of gets a little bit lazy in others. So, so when we have a look at it, so 2021, he got 107 and then 149 and a 190. So he definitely has gone big previously. So I'm probably thinking Neil is a great VC or C option. I'm probably going to pass on Laird this week, I think. So who's Laird playing? Against Carlton. So interesting. I don't know. I think Laird is still a really good option. But I'm just I'll probably think, West Coast and North. There you go. So I think the next week and the week after, I think Laird is definitely honed in for a good run. Now, I swear, I thought it said Gold Coast. I must be reading something wrong here. Upcoming opponents. Okay, so North, round 23. Okay, so it's only showing the 3 there. So there you go. So I'm pretty happy. Let me just have a quick look. Adelaide play Carlton Saturday. So that game is Saturday night, same time as Geelong and Dogs. So that's okay. I'm okay with that. So the other option is, I guess, that Sunday, I could even go Laird as a VC and then go into a Neil. I just feel like Tuke Miller against West Coast is probably going to score more than Laird against Carlton. So all depending if Walsh plays or that sort of thing. But I just, Laird's been killing it lately, so he does make sense to be a really good VC or C option. I don't feel comfortable going with Tuke Miller as captain on his own right. And when we put them together, I think maybe Tuke might win over Laird this week. And it's hard because when we have a look at that average, how can you complain? Man, that's a hard one. How do you go against Laird, who's got a low of 114 in the last 6 rounds? So there's no logic to this. And Laird's definitely going to be in my captain list from round 21, 22 for sure. How did he go against Carlton before? 123. So, yeah. A 154 and a 140 are great captaincies. 130 is a bit, 156 against North. 136 against West Coast. Yeah, I'm going Tuke. I think I'm going Tuke into Neil. Or I'll go Laird into Tuke, but the chances are Laird might go 125 and you probably feel like you have to take it. So I'm not sure if he's going absolutely big against Carlton. Carlton have a lot of high scorers already. There's a lot of points to share around. So I think it's going to be a little bit difficult there. So that's what I'm thinking. Out of those 3 options as my mix, my captain and VC will be one of those lot there. I'm probably avoiding the Dogs game and Geelong. I'm just not sure who's going big that week. So I'll probably stick to those that have probably a favourable draw and work it in with that. So that's my team. That's it. I'm out of trades. I'm out of changes. See if I can slowly progress with a bit of luck. Hopefully I can keep creeping up those rank lines. Let us know where you're sitting and what you are making moves towards for the end of the season. And that's it. We'll talk to you soon. And until next time, let us know how you're going. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.